All right. 12 minutes going up to 8 o'clock. That video that went viral on several social media platforms today of what took place at a gated apartment complex on Braemar Avenue in
Yes.
St. Andrew. Well, we have had some reactions from the managing director of King Alarm, John Piazar. He joins us, as well as the attorney for the real estate agent involved in the incident. Christopher Townsend is his lawyer. Good evening,
Good
gentlemen.
evening, gentlemen.
Hi, how you
Hey,
doing?
Mr. Hughes.
Good evening.
Mr. Reed, Mr.
First of
Townsend, good
all,
evening.
let me begin with you, John Azar. You issued a statement which is instructive. You said, in part, all King Alarm personnel who were present have been pulled from duty pending the outcome of the investigations by ourselves, the police, and other authorities, all of which are already underway, and that you have personally reached out to the firearm holder in the video and expressed your concerns directly to him and assuring him of your availability for further discussions in the coming days. Why have you taken this position?
Well, Mr. Hughes, as I said in the statement that we issued, in the absence of a complete investigation where all the facts are known, I saw the same videos on social media that have been circulating, and I'd say that there's enough there to concern me.
Mm-hmm.
So out of an abundance of caution, we've pulled all personnel, not only people who I may have concerns with, all personnel who attended that scene will be withdrawn from duty, will have already been withdrawn from duty.
And how many are we
And
talking about?
I believe we had 4 or 5 teams there. Some of the teams responded long after the fact, but again, out of an abundance of caution, even one of our supervisors who attended the scene, I think 2 hours later when everything had subsided, I pulled him from duty as well. I mean, taking our personnel off the road after an incident like this is standard procedure, allows us to question them without their other obligations and have them cooperate with the other authorities who are conducting their own investigation, and the chips will fall where they may. You know, as anybody who knows me and hopefully knows King Alarm know what we stand for and know that I will not tolerate anyone operating contrary to the law regardless of where they may work, and that includes at King Alarm.
What in the video gave you particular concern, Mr. Azar? In the video you
A fair
saw.
amount of things, Mr. Hughes. I mean, I pride myself that our personnel act professionally. And I'd say anybody seeing those videos, even without knowing what may have transpired before or after, which I don't think is relevant to my concerns, I don't think anybody seeing that would say that all personnel dressed in our uniform appear to have been acting professionally. So, again, out of an abundance of caution, I'm not in a position to say where anyone is right or wrong. I have to allow them due process as well. And a thorough investigation is where all the facts have been known. But out of an abundance of caution, I've taken that action, and I think it's prudent in light of what has taken place.
Let's bring in attorney at law, Christopher Townsend, at this juncture. Mr. Townsend, what can you tell us about your client at this hour?
How is he doing?
Well, first and foremost, I know John, and the actions that he has taken is in keeping with the way how he does things. So I'm not surprised. Mr. Wooler, at this time, he has suffered some injuries, and certainly it has been quite embarrassing for him. He is recovering. He went to the doctor yesterday, and he is on the treatment. Now, as you saw in the video, he had several kicks, one to the head, at least one to the head, and he was beaten otherwise. So he's recovering from those injuries. What I find unusual about this incident is that he's one of the persons that had in fact called King Alarm to come and assist him in the fracas.
Really?
And it turned out that King Alarm did not assist him much any at all, certainly from the videos.
Well, from
something I also find of concern is that the King Alarm officers did not seek to detain the gentleman who attacked my client. They were focused, guns out, on my client after he was assaulted. So I found that to be unusual and unprofessional. John has conceded that certainly his officers acted in an unprofessional manner, and I have no doubt that he will be taking the usual measures to deal with the matter.
Just to clarify briefly, if I could.
Yes.
First, Mr. Townsend, thank you for your kind words as relating to me. I would not say that I've conceded where anyone has acted unprofessionally. There's clearly cause for concern. I will say that, and I'll say it repeatedly. There are probably certain facts not captured on either the videos. However, I'll be very quick to point out, which I said before, irrespective of what might have taken place before, it does not excuse anybody wearing our uniform from acting anything less than professional. My staff are trained to respond and deal with situations under very, very adverse circumstances, and that's what I expect from them. So, irrespective of
John,
what took
I hear you, John, but when I see a kick to the head, I'm a little bit concerned because the person was already subdued by 4 to 5 of your officers. I also noticed that your officers were holding the gate and preventing anyone from leaving, which, to the best of my knowledge, only police officers can do in only certain circumstances. To the best of my knowledge, they're citizens. They're civilians,
than I am,
and therefore they do not.
Hold on, John. Allow Mr. Townsend.
I'm very concerned about that, John. Especially, and I will declare, my home is secured by King Alarm, and I'll be very concerned that if I call them, that would be the kind of response that I would get.
But
So
Chris,
I understand that.
hold on, Mr. Townsend. Mr. Townsend, to be complete though, hold on, Christopher Townsend.
I was watching
Mr. Townsend, Mr. Townsend, please. I'm saying I saw the videos as well, and just to give a complete picture, the kick to the head, you could also hear another of the King Alarm guard saying, no, don't do that. Yeah? So just for completeness, for those who may not have seen it, right? Didn't you hear that?
I appreciate that there may have been guards there that were acting professionally. That's fine.
Yes, just a complete.
But there was a kick to the man's head when the man was.
No doubt about that. Yes.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Have you received any instructions?
Remember, what you're looking at is not only the action of one guard or you say it's a company, it's a group of persons acting together.
Mm-hmm. John Azar?
Yes, sir. I'm here, Mr. Hughes.
Your time.
What I was saying is my information, which, again, I don't want to be repetitive, but I'd rather wait until an investigation is completed to comment more fully. But my investigation is that we were summoned to the location not by the individual in question who Mr. Townsend represents, and we were summoned for a totally different incident, which I'd rather, again, not comment on. I will say again, before I get any more outcry, I mean, you can imagine I've had a pretty busy day, to say that irrespective of what took place prior, I hold my staff to an extremely high standard. And at the end of the day, Mr. Hughes, were you to hear other information subsequent and even take a view to say, well, I can understand a bit now, I don't take that view. Because as I repeat, my staff are trained to deal with situations under very adverse circumstances. They're well trained, and I expect them to conduct themselves appropriately. But when I hear a video with a member of our staff using expletives, even something like that to me is absolutely absurd, and it will be addressed.
Mr. Azar, you have said that you clearly that you don't want to comment too much on the matter at hand. However, a lot is in the public domain this evening. The videos have gone viral. Don't you think you should, for the sake of context, at least say who summoned you to the property and what was the reason your security team was called?
I'd rather not. Who's that, Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Reed, the gentleman sitting beside you is one of Jamaica's greatest investigative journalists. I think that if you guys want to determine what might have taken place there, I don't need to give you that information. And I will say again, I'm currently off the island. I've changed my plans to be back in office first thing in the morning. But at this point, the comments I'm giving, I have not personally gotten the personnel in front of me, which is my intention. So honestly, I'm not trying to withhold anything from the public, but I'd rather not comment on certain matters simply because my focus at this point is what my officers did, how they behave, and their professionalism or lack thereof. So as I stated in my statement, we will cooperate. We're conducting our own investigation, which is being done actually externally for transparency. We're cooperating with the police, with the Firearm Licensing Authority, all appropriate authorities. All personnel have been pulled from duty, which I think is just a responsible thing to do. And ultimately, at the end of the investigation, we will take the appropriate action. What I can stress one last point is anybody, including to you, Mr. Townsend, as one of our valid clients, anybody found in breach of our standing orders, our code of conduct, the law, or in breach of somebody's human rights will not wear our uniform thereafter. But I need to allow that process to take place. I can't be like people who see a video or portion of it and then jump in a certain direction. We're an investigative company, and I need to also investigate matters in an appropriate manner.
We can appreciate that. Mr. Townsend, can you tell us, I know you'll be representing Mr. Woolry in terms of clearing his name of any wrongdoing as it relates to this shooting incident, but have you received any instructions from your client with regards to actions he might take against King Alarm?
My client and I, we have been talking about it. I'll just say this. John did reach out to my client, which I do believe is the correct thing to do. You can always depend on John to do the correct thing. And he has said certain things to my client, which, it's an invitation to start the dialogue, which we will be taking up in the future once the investigation.
And finally, thank you. And finally, the gentleman that was the individual that was shot in the ordeal. Either of you can tell us this condition he's in as at this hour?
To the best of my knowledge, it was akin to a graze, and so it is not life-threatening.
And is he employed to your company, Mr. Azar?
Absolutely not, sir. He's a third party, and again, that's one of the things that when you look at videos, I've heard people say, our employee in a blue shirt attacked Mr. Townsend, etc. Absolutely not. He's a third party, unbeknownst to me.
No, if he had attacked me, Mr., it would have been an entirely different affair. No, he attacked Mr. Woolry.
No, sorry. I meant your client. My apologies.
Well, all right. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll have to leave it there. We are out of time, but we want to thank John Azar, the Managing Director of King Alarm, and Attorney at Law Christopher Townsend for having joined us. Thank you, gentlemen. You'll be hearing from us in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I should also declare, lest I be accused, that I'm a client of King Alarm, a long-standing client of John Azar and King Alarm. I know them for years. Yes? So